Welcome back. A major White House event tomorrow where President Trump will be the keynote speech at the Winning the AI Race Summit in Washington. The president set to unveil sweeping executive orders aimed at cementing U.S. dominance in artificial intelligence. White House AI and Crypto Czar David Sacks hosting the event, which follows a $92 billion wave of investment in AI infrastructure in America. I just spoke with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in the last hour on what's driving the economy at this moment and the administration's push to build in America. Once again, watch. We talk so much about AI and this new pivot in terms of technology and its impact across business, as well as the president's policies to bring business and supply chains back to America. Is that what's behind the CapEx boom? How do you see things?
We are in the middle of this incredible AI boom that, I don't know whether you want to say this is the third, fourth, fifth industrial revolution. So we're seeing the hyperscalers spend like we never have before. And I think what's really gone unheralded here is the Trump administration's emphasis on deregulation. We are making it possible to build things in America again.
How long-lasting do you expect this CapEx boom to be?
I've had the privilege of being in Pittsburgh twice in the past month, and it shows both sides of this CapEx boom. On one side, and Pittsburgh is going to become an AI powerhouse because they have power, they have energy, they've got the know-how with the great universities there. So you're seeing it on both sides. Imagine that, steel and AI, and it's a very diversified building boom. We're seeing companies from all over the world want to come in.
And joining me now ahead of this main event tomorrow in Washington, the man leading the charge, White House AI and Crypto Czar David Sacks. David, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Congrats on all that you've done in this regard. What should we expect tomorrow? I know you've got lots of people from Silicon Valley and AI executives coming to Washington for this Winning the AI Race event. What should we expect?
Well, it's going to be a day of panels about AI, and you're going to hear from innovators and policymakers what's ahead. But the thing we're most excited about, obviously, is that President Trump's going to be giving a keynote address on AI. And I think this is his first major speech on the topic since he's begun his second term. So I think there's a lot to look forward to here, Maria.
Yeah, and we're also expecting that President Trump will issue executive orders. David, what specifically do you want to see in the way of executive orders to actually move things forward, move the needle even further toward accelerating the promise of AI in America?
Well, Maria, I think there's three things that we have to do to win the AI race. Number one is innovation. Like Secretary Bessent was saying, we have to be the leader in innovation. We have to outcompete our global adversaries. There's no substitute for that. You can't regulate your way to winning the AI race. And in America, the innovation is done by the private sector. And so we have to get the red tape out of the way. This is why President Trump rescinded that 100-page Biden EO that imposed a lot of burdensome regulation on our AI companies. This is why President Trump rescinded the 200-page Biden diffusion rule, which put a tremendous amount of burdensome regulation on our chip companies. So we want to get the red tape out of the way. Number two is infrastructure. We have to build out the most infrastructure in the United States. That's what the Pennsylvania announcement was, $92 billion of new investment in the heartland of the country to upgrade the grid, to generate more power, and to build more data centers. And it was President Trump who really was very farsighted and led the way for this, because he understood years ago that we had to drill, baby, drill. We had to unlock American energy, because that's the basis for all future growth. And you need AI, in order to have AI dominance, you need to have energy dominance. And so President Trump, I think, has unleashed that with his pro-energy policies. And then number three is around exports. We want the American tech stack to be the leader in the world. We want to be the global standard. And I think that there's a number of things we can do to unlock American exports. And I think you'll see President Trump speak to that topic as well.
This is all really important points that you make, particularly the energy part of this, because you're talking about a whole new wave of potential jobs in energy, construction, electricity, all of that. But, when I spoke with President Trump last month, I asked him what the plan is for AI efficiency as it relates to jobs, because we know that AI makes everything more productive. Doesn't that mean some of us will actually either lose a job or, be on the other side of the training. Here's what the president told me when I raised this issue. Watch this. And one CEO told me that AI, artificial intelligence, allows engineers to be at least 25% more productive. It's helpful in contract management. It's helpful in repetitive jobs. It's helpful in data. What can you do to offset the job cuts that will no doubt come as a result of AI efficiency?
One thing, very simple, bring more companies and more jobs. The truth is we don't have enough people to take care of these jobs. So it's like perfect timing. We don't have enough people. My biggest problem is they're coming in and they have to hire thousands and thousands of workers. This is perfect timing. We don't have enough people. If AI is so good, which I hear it is, and there's a lot of money being bet by very smart people, I'll tell you, we are dominating AI.
So, David, what do you think? What jobs will go away as a result of AI efficiency, and how do we arm ourselves with the right skill set to actually prosper in a new AI world?
Well, Maria, I think whenever you get a revolutionary new technology like this, there are three impacts on the labor market. So number one is you do get some job displacement. But number two, like President Trump was saying, you get new companies and you get new jobs. And then there's a third category of just increased productivity for all workers. So maybe a job isn't created or lost, but now workers are just more productive. My view is that the latter two effects are going to greatly outnumber the first one. So we're going to see more job creation and more productivity. And that's going to be a much greater impact than any job displacement. And that's been the history of new technology. Whenever you have these technology revolutions in the past, you saw that that the total number of jobs went up and living standards rose. For example, you go all the way back to 1900, 50% of workers were involved in agriculture. Basically, 1 out of every 2 people was a farmer. By the year 2000, that number was down to 2%. Now, the difference, the 48% didn't become unemployed. They went into new kinds of jobs and companies that were created by the Industrial Revolution. So this is what I think is going to happen with AI as well, is that you're going to have far more new jobs and different kinds of jobs and new companies created. And you're already seeing a boom in Silicon Valley with the startup creation has risen dramatically over the past couple of years because of AI. So I think there's a lot more reasons to be positive than negative about this new technology.
All right, great. And of course, we're also seeing real advancements on digital assets. The president signing the Genius Act into law on Friday, the first major congressional overhaul of cryptocurrency rules, and it's expected to boost consumer confidence in the digital asset industry. What about that? David, I know the president has praised you for your role in getting this bill across the finish line. Here's what he said here's what he said Friday. Watch.
I'm also committed to signing landmark crypto market structure legislation this year to grow the industry. We're going to be growing it even more than people ever thought. It's a really hot industry. A few people have fought harder for the bill than we're signing than some of the people here today. You have been unbelievable. It's our House A.I. and Crypto Czar David Sacks who has done such a great job. David's been fantastic. He's done an incredible job.
So, David, tell us about the Genius Act and how that will change things in a practical way.
Well, the president was being very kind there to me, Maria, but the truth is that it's President Trump's leadership and vision and determination and skill that really got us to this point. Last Friday, he signed the Genius Act, which is the first historic piece of crypto legislation. We've never had that before. It was President Trump who, during the campaign, promised to make the United States the crypto capital of the planet. He prioritized the issue, and it was his direct intervention in the bill that got over the finish line. The final week before the bill was signed, there were news reports saying that it was dead, and it was President Trump who got the members over the finish line and was really the reason why this bill passed. So
right.
I have to thank him for all of that. In terms of what this bill does, it's stablecoin legislation, which the way to think about a stablecoin, I think, is a digital dollar. This allows the dollar to be used online in crypto wallets across the world, and by doing that, it extends the dollar's dominance internationally. And I think it's going to bolster the dollar status as a reserve currency for the world, and in so doing, create trillions of dollars of demand for U.S. treasuries.
All right, we will leave it there. David, it's always a pleasure to see you. We so appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, David Sacks this morning. We'll be right back.